A naked with 73 horsepower and automatic transmission. But are we sure it's suitable for beginner riders? Or does this new technology risk making things more complicated rather than simplifying them? Today we'll find out together by testing it. This is the new manual transmission 07 2025 with automatic transmission, YA manual transmission. So let's start the review right away by starting up this bike, which doesn't have a clutch. How do you do it? It's not very intuitive, so the dealer must explain it. Operating it is like using a scooter. So brake and ignition button. I suggest not using the front brake or the ignition button. Otherwise your hand position would feel unnatural. What I think you should do is press the rear brake and click the ignition button. Basically it becomes more doable. Then to put it in first gear, since there's no gear shift pedal, nor the clutch lever for that matter, you need to press the selector located on the left control block. We're in first gear and ready to go. It's similar to a scooter as it shifts automatically. My hand is completely off the handlebar. Just to show you. Exactly, the automatic shifting. There's a second mode that will make the shifting a bit sportier. By raising the RPMs, and it will downshift every time the bike automatically reaches around 2000 RPMs. I have to say, it was a bit traumatizing for me to get used to this automatic system. Because here, unlike a scooter, we still have to engage first gear when we start. And above all, we can choose which gear to engage through, in fact, the selectors I showed you earlier. So if I were to put myself in the shoes of a young guy coming from the world of scooters, he wants to move up in engine size, getting on a real motorcycle, choosing the manual transmission, 07. Well, maybe the gear shift and clutch just aren't his thing. This can definitely be a valid alternative for not giving up the desire to ride a motorcycle. On the other hand, I put myself in the shoes of a guy, a girl, or maybe a gentleman or a lady with a disability. As you know, these are important topics that we've brought to the channel in past years. A big greeting goes to Maurizio Castelli, my instructor, who in fact had a forearm removed. And I think it was the left one. I don't want to say something wrong. In that case, a system like this could be a game changer for him. Besides being a pilot and racing, he even gets better lap times than me on the track without an arm. We're closing the automatic transmission topic for now, but may revisit it gradually. During this test ride, as usual, let's start with the riding comfort. How does it feel to sit on this manual transmission 07? As I already told you, Yamaha has made some changes. For example, the handlebar is wider and has a lower bend, along with a slight lowering of the foot pegs. This allows the rider to ride a bit more sportily without putting too much weight on the front. Let's say just enough to ride it on the road with full control of the bike. You can really grip the tank very well with your legs. And the seat, which I would have preferred to be a bit more padded. I have to say though, it's comfortable. In city riding, it doesn't have any flaws and it doesn't get hot. It's easy to ride, it's a joy. On your shoulders, arms, and hands, you don't feel any particularly annoying vibrations, just like on the foot pegs. Wind protection isn't included, but that's expected on a naked bike. The manual transmission 07 2025 brings key updates. The frame has been lightened and stiffened to improve its handling. The swing arm has been redesigned to increase stability, while the wheels have been lightened by almost half a kilo to reduce the overall weight of the bike. But the changes don't stop here. In fact, the front suspension has been revised, introducing new upside-down forks, while at the rear we have an adjustable monoshock. Let's start talking about the chassis. Given the curves opening up in front of us, the chassis has been improved in almost every aspect, especially in the Achilles heels that the 2024 model had. The frame has been reinforced. When it comes to cornering, in terms of suspension, it's not bad at all. What leaves me a bit puzzled though is the Y-AMT gearbox, which often decides while you're in the middle of a turn, maybe with the throttle open, to shift up a gear. or on the contrary, to shift down, so you'll need some time to adjust. It's also true that we can, thanks to the right selector, switch and move to manual modes. Right now I've set it to sport, and now I have full control thanks to my left index finger and thumb on the shifter. The suspension in general is stiffer compared to the previous model, and this definitely makes for a slightly sportier drive. When you set the trajectory, it's very good at following it during city driving. Thanks to the excellent balance in terms of performance of this suspension, you don't have to give up comfort. So we can go over any asphalt imperfections under the wheels without hurting our backs. The beating heart of the manual transmission 07 remains the classic and now well-tested CP2. 689cc delivers 73.5 horsepower, about an unleashing 68 Nm of torque. Euro 5 Plus approved, this engine manages to offer a smooth ride, perfect for city roads and out-of-town trips. The biggest innovation, however, when talking about this engine is definitely the introduction of the automatic transmission, which eliminates the clutch lever entirely, and also the gear lever, allowing the rider to choose between automatic or manual riding through the left control block. In terms of pickup under torque, it always feels nice and punchy. When we're riding, it manages to entertain even, in my opinion, the most experienced rider. The throttle control has become ride-by-wire and is really set up perfectly. You don't feel any strange on-off effects. And the power delivery follows a super smooth curve. The gears, I have to admit, all engage really well. With this Y-AMT gearbox, in any mode you choose, the gear shifts are precise and quick. But she, unlike the big sister 09, I have to be honest with you, is really very quiet. The new regulations make it really impossible, almost, on these small engine sizes, to be able to hear the sound coming from the exhaust. The manual transmission 07, however, manages to hold its own well, even from an electronic standpoint. Thanks to its advanced suite, there are 3 riding modes: Street, Sport, and Custom in manual mode, and 2 in automatic mode, D and D+. Switchable traction control, adjustable on 2 levels, ride-by-wire, and cruise control. And a new 5-inch color thin-film transistor display with smartphone connectivity through the MyRide app. Lastly, the arrival of traction control, which can be set to multiple levels and switched off. However, we're not talking about very high power here, but it's still a help, and sometimes having it or not can make a difference. If we wanted to make a comparison between the previous version and this year's base manual transmission 07, significant improvements would definitely catch our eye right away. In terms of chassis, ergonomics, and electronics, the new riding position is sportier, thanks to a wider and lower handlebar. And the foot pegs, which are also lowered, improve comfort and control for the rider on top. Compared to the base manual transmission 07, this Y manual transmission simply adds the automatic transmission and cruise control, making it ideal for beginners who might be coming from a scooter and for people who may have disabilities and who just can't give up on motorcycles. Looking at list prices, the base manual transmission 07 2025 is sold for $7,999. The Y-AMT version with automatic transmission sells for €8,599. So we've reached the end of this review as well. Honestly, I can't give you a precise answer to the question I asked you at the beginning of the video. With 15 years of traditional riding experience as a motorcyclist, I can tell you that it was a bit of a shock to get on and adapt to this automatic transmission. On the other hand, though, in the situations I've already mentioned, it could really be a game changer. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, because today, more than ever, I want to hear your opinion. Then subscribe to the channel by clicking the red button, because I found out that most of you watch my videos but aren't subscribed to the channel yet. Leave a like and share. That's all from Nicolo Frecciaverdi. I'll see you in the next video, always here on the channel. Bye!